Welcome to Dare, the show for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders who dare to shape the future. Your hosts today are Ned Hayes and Cecilia Mariani. Dare is brought to you by Darwoft, the superpower tech team that can make your vision a reality. The Dare Show is excited to welcome to the podcast Matt Horne, Chief Financial Officer of Insite AI. As CFO at Insite, Matt leverages nearly 20 years of experience in leading finance and operations functions. He aligns this company with a long-term vision. And throughout his career, he's added great contributions at world-changing companies like Intel, Lenovo, and IronNet. And he's really a master of business partnerships and market opportunities. So happy to have Matt on the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Ed. Great to be here.
I'm also happy to welcome back to the show Cecilia Mariani. She's been our co-host. She's taken a little hiatus, but she's the CEO for our sponsoring company, Darwoft, for this show. And she's here specifically to talk about a new announcement with Insite AI. In fact, I'll give the first question to Cecilia.
Oh, thank you, Ned. It's great to be back. Welcome to the show, Matt. I'd like to start with your company. Tell us about Insite AI.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Great to be here. Always great to be with you, Cecilia. Inside AI, we are focused on the CPG sector, so consumer packaged goods. Think big brands, particularly the top 50, top 250 in emerging growth brands, predominantly with the U.S. focus. So we focus on enabling category managed revenue growth teams within those companies, bringing them unmatched capability around pricing, assortment, micro, macro forecasting, space planning. And what makes us really unique is our ability to deliver optimizations for those functionalities at better granularity, better speed, really than anybody else in the market. And that's foremost a testament to our technology and also to our people.
Yeah, so you said optimizations. There are actually a lot of companies in the CPG space. So could you go further in telling us about what's unique about Insite?
Yeah, a lot, especially when you fan it out, right? You've got any number of big consultancies, engineering firms, services companies. Frankly, we've faced them in RFP, replaced them in practice, and why do we ultimately win and how do we wow our customers? Really, it is our people. We were built for CPG by CPG experts, certainly had the benefit of the killer tech, but our ability to bring in business context, knowing it's not just a data or an analytics problem, it's really a business problem. So being able to consider and see what's around the corner ultimately helps our customers in making better decisions, but also designing the capability. So how we can really put the challenges and the objectives into their business context always helps us win, right? And not everybody can do that. So that's really born out of our depth and breadth and focus within the CPG industry itself.
Yeah, CPG experts make a difference for you. But you are also deeply using AI now. So how do you see Insight expertise in AI changing the face of the CPG industry?
Yeah, I think it's kind of delivering that holy grail of capability, getting down to SKU, shelf, store level granularity. I mean, you just can't do that without really advanced analytics and ultimately AI. So what AI enables you to do within the CPG space is things like, all of that kind of tail end SKU matching, data harmonization across very disparate systems and sources, and also very complex scenario modeling. Any other tools that are more linearly based, and even a lot of customers that we see that have been doing it historically via Excel of all things. And I love Excel, so I'm not going to trash it here, but there are limits, and AI really helps break through those limits. Do matching, do filler, do clustering at the store level, and give customers that, again, kind of holy grail view of, hey, this product at this shelf in this store can behave very differently than even at a store a mile away. So being able to make those levels of granular decisions and being able to do it at speed, which again, the AI is able to enable, you can run these scenarios very quickly, change rule sets, change category, change scope, and be able to see real time what the effect is hugely valuable.
And can you tell us more about how AI augments advanced analytics? How does AI break through limits? What's an example of a complex scenario?
Certainly a little bit beyond my space. I'm not the AI expert, but from what I can tell and what we see with our customers, again, really is getting over those initial hurdles maybe that have tripped them up in the past. Incomplete data sets, as an example, or the ability to match data sets. So it really is in and around one, kind of the foundational data capabilities how do you pull together, stitch together the right sources of data at the right level of frequency to be able to drive the analysis and insights that you're looking for to shape your business. AI can do that obviously very quickly. A simple example, right? Something that would be very manual otherwise, SKU matching. Data sets change constantly. If you're using syndicated data, point of sale data from a given retailer, matching point of sale data from two retailers, right? Their schema can be very different without really the use of AI and AI in this sense, in terms of both intelligence and automation. That's a very challenging task, and it just sucks up, person hours to get it done. Not a lot of value in that. You need to have it done, but it's painstaking. The AI can do that when it's tailored and customized, can do that in minutes, right? So you automatically gain days or weeks in your cycle, not having to manage the data and being able to get into the analysis, being able to get into decisions and discussion, which is what everybody wants to be doing, right?
And Matt, any names of customers you can talk about? Can you tell us about some of your most successful engagement? Any customer case studies to tell us about?
We like to protect the innocent where we can, but I think plenty of use cases, and we have these posted on our website and through LinkedIn that kind of highlight what we've been able to do with different customers. It certainly depends what challenges they're facing. So for some, it may be, taking a seat and up-leveling their capability, gaining captaincy for a certain retailer. So for retailers, they choose, category quote unquote captains that really play the role of helping the retailer manage that category at a higher level on behalf of the retailer. So they really work together through planning cycles, as a partner to the retailer to do projections, forecast, optimizations, help the retailer solve goals and objectives they have for a given category. So that requires, a certain view of kind of agnostic intelligence, and also requires a lot of cycles, requires a lot of analysis, typically that a company wouldn't have otherwise, because they're more narrowly focused specifically on their business and their products. So where we can really empower them, coach them, give them the right tools and insights to go, look like a champion in front of the retail partner, goes a really, really long way, right? Makes them look great, helps the retailer obviously have a more intelligent and credible partner and decision process. So we've seen that time and time again be really helpful. The other real world examples, again, come back to getting to better levels of granularity, being able to manage planning cycles at much faster speed, whether we're talking working through planograms for assortment, determining pricing strategies for a given cycle, determining which products and which locations on which shelves should get pricing discounts to drive, an overall boost in growth. These are things that we're solving day in and day out for a number of customers, and it's what keeps us going every day.
Fantastic. Well, and I also understand that Insite is announcing a new partnership with Darwoft, the company that sponsors this Dare to Dream podcast. So I wonder if both of you could tell us more about this partnership. Maybe we could start with you, Matt. What's in this partnership?
Yeah, absolutely. It's new and it's old, right? So the beauty here is we've got a long track record with Darwoft, working very closely together, and it's only been successful to date. And so, I'm only more excited to see what we can do in a closer partnership going forward. We've routinely been able to get the best people and the best talent through Darwoft to help us with these technical challenges. The industry we see, our customers, face all the same struggles. Really strong technical talent is hard to find. It takes time, and it requires really good technical insight to be able to determine the right kind of technical folks that you can bring in. So Darwoft has been exemplary there, helping us, staff out our teams and our projects for every one of our customers. So that's been great. And what I know that Cecilia and Christian and the team will continue to provide as we kind of mark a new partnership going forward is, not just their insights and knowledge across industries. So how can we leverage best practices that their teams face outside of their work with Insite AI? How can we leverage some of that and help move our customers forward at a faster pace? I know they will bring that to the table. I also know that the team will continue to push us and make us better, which to me really is the mark of a great partner. It's not just the opportunistic sales growth when it's convenient. It's really, how do we push each other to make each other better? Sure, we want to be successful, but let's focus on improving on for the sake of our customers, and that, the success will take care of itself at that point. And I know that the team will continue to do that. They've done it every day since we've known them. And this helps push us into a new space, which is really ensuring that our customers, whether they need a tool whether they need project support, we can turn around and continue to offer the great capability that we've gotten from Darwoft through to those customers.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Matt, for your kind words about Darwoft. From the Darwoft side, we plan to contribute to this partnership by enabling powerful data-driven AI models that can be seamlessly integrated into custom applications designed for the CPG sector. We think that in Darwoft, we have experience creating those custom applications. I think that is a good partnership to collaborate with Insite on this. And we will focus also on data readiness and optimization, ensuring the CPG companies have clean, structured, and enriched data. This is a foundation. This foundation is essential for delivering then accurate AI models. So once the data is prepared, we shift our focus to AI-driven solutions. And as Matt mentioned, we think that these solutions will empower CPG companies with forecast trends, optimize the pricing strategies, improve the assortment management. So we believe in this new partnership, working with learning from Insite, from all the experience that they already have in their product, in having a product with AI and in the CPG industry. And I think that what we can offer is our experience creating applications, creating solutions, and in working with data and integrating those solutions to CPG customers.
I think really well said. If I can just chime in again, that it's really the same foundational challenges that our customers face, Darwoft's customers face when they're not working directly with us, which is, as Cecilia mentioned, data management, data readiness. It is the foundational capability to do anything analytical or to drive any insight. And it's not industry specific, right? It's industry agnostic. Core challenges that exist for everybody. So I know they've tackled this time and time again at scale. We've gotten a little more niche and focused specifically on how that relates into CPG customers, but it's such a pervasive challenge across industries, across customers, that I think that's what makes this partnership really unique and really powerful. Is we're rowing in the same direction, right? We may be a little more downstream into CPG, but I think a lot to be gained from both in terms of what we're seeing and how that can work back into each other's business.
Right. I'm really struck by something that Cecilia said, which is that data readiness and optimization. I mean, what's key here is really that concept of garbage in, garbage out, right? I mean, the data really has to be prepared. And I'm just curious, do companies mostly show up with data that is not optimized and they really need help getting that ready to go?
That's a trick question.
You're saying?
Yeah, and it's in most instances it's known, right? Hey, we do have these distinct data challenges. Can you help us? In a lot of instances, it's not known because the extent of the data required isn't really fully understood. So when we're engaging with customers on any given kind of effort, if it's enabling a specific application or some of our off-the-shelf software tools or a distinct project that they're trying to enable, there can be anywhere from a macro sense, 5 to a dozen-ish, quote unquote, master data sources. The reality is when you start getting into customer kind of ERP system, there are thousands of data tables behind it. So oftentimes, the business may come with a concept of what does this look like, in terms of outcome, in terms of decision, in terms of objective, without a real understanding of where the data is and in what form it exists, what frequency it exists, right? You may have point of sale data from one retailer only coming in on a monthly basis. Meanwhile, your manufacturing supply chain data internally is daily, hourly, by the minute. So it's sometimes just normalizing and rationalizing, well, how do we handle the frequency at a monthly with the frequency of an hourly and be able to drive decisions weekly? Big challenge, right? And typically the business side won't know that until you kind of start working through the process. So I don't know that it's as much what's the frequency in which the data is aligned and optimized. It's really how do you help them? How do you work together to figure out, one, what data really is required to deliver the output that we're looking for? And then how do we use the data that exists in the frequency and form that it exists to inform those outputs as effectively as possible?
Got it.
I know Cecilia sees this all the time. Curious, what they see in other industries, because that is certainly CPG, but I suspect not isolated to CPG.
That's a great question for Cecilia. What do you see, Cecilia?
Yeah, we are seeing this problem of data and to have the data ready at this moment in all the industries, especially while we work with CPG and with healthcare And in healthcare, we are seeing the same challenges, I can say, or problems. So having tech ops teams or having experts in data in order to have the data ready for all the other projects that the companies would like to start. So in order to be ready for machine learning or for AI, we need to first to have the data ready. So Matt, since you are a finance guy, can you talk about the numbers? What kind of real ROI that can come from data readiness from this partnership?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the numbers, obviously. And, data readiness, again, is such a foundational concept. I think when we engage with our customers, I'm sure with you as well, it's, hey, they're chomping to get to the bit, chomping to get to the outcome. And for us, maybe it's pricing optimization on a specific set of brands within a specific channel. Great. Well, the data's not there. And then, as you mentioned, garbage in, garbage out. So the ROI on just the readiness portion is really hard to communicate, right? Because typically, as we mentioned, the business side isn't aware and they're just ready to go. But you can't start running, obviously, until everything is rightfully in its place. So it's almost infinite and it's almost zero when you just think about the data readiness portion and what that represents in terms of ROI, because what ultimately drives value is the end output, right? Whether that's pricing optimization, demand transference, understanding what that looks like relative to price, elasticity, assortment, whatever it may be. That's where you can start to measure, look, a change of this effect can drive 2 to 3% in terms of overall revenue. And that for the customers that we're typically engaging with, small percent, huge dollar number, right? So it all kind of comes back to what is the ultimate outcome that we're trying to drive. In this instance, it may be better volume growth through price management, intelligent price management. Okay, well, first we got to make sure the data is right. This is phase one of this effort. The end ROI, we'll project 1.5 to 3%, perhaps in this instance. That could represent, tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, depending on the company and the brand and the scope that we're looking at. So you got to kind of position the ROI back in terms of that end business capability, but you can't get there if the data is not ready, if the data is not properly managed, not properly aligned, not properly understood,
Right.
which is the core challenge.
Absolutely. Well, so we've talked a little bit about CPG here, and I'm just curious if we could jump ahead, I don't know, 5, 10 years, where is CPG going as an industry? Maybe you could use your crystal ball for us. When we talk about new trends like just-in-time manufacturing, 3D printing, consumer product, different kinds of consumer products that can be developed in real time for individual customer needs. So like my backpack looks different than the backpack that was ordered 3.2 seconds before me. Maybe price elasticity on demand. I mean, there's a lot changing in CPG. So where's this all going, Matt? I mean, just prognosticate for us.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that you claim that I have a crystal ball. If I do, I'm going to go try to find it. Yeah, it's hard. Like I'm more of a historian than I am a futurist, I would say, and that's a really hard exercise because I think it's easy for most of us as humans to think about what's right in front of us and what could change with the incremental effect. But kind of blank slate, what does the world look like? Hard to say, but I'll give it my best shot. I think for CPG, I like your example where you're really talking about customization, right? I think, particularly in the US market, really eager to hear Cecilia's perspective on what's going on in other parts of the world. But, definitely a customization. This is mine. This is unique to me is a driving behavior that we see kind of across CPGs in the US. So I do think that is a real trend that will continue, that will continue to be, I think, guardrail constrained, one, by price, right? Customization can always happen, but at what price? And is that still palatable to the consumer? And then feasibility as it relates to manufacturing. So if you're talking creating a backpack and, slightly different designs or slightly different color modifications, clearly you need to have all those raw materials and all those combinations ready to go to be made. So that's one aspect. If you're talking more in terms of food and beverage type products, then perhaps that's a little easier, a little less pricey, a little easier to manage. But it all comes back to, as a CPG company, planning for the wealth of combinations, what that might cost, and then ultimately what we want to present to consumers is a great challenge to try to figure out.
Yeah.
I know that those conversations are going on every day. At some point, somebody's got to make a point to limit the number of possibilities, which is a tough decision. But I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. We've seen
Yeah.
the proliferation of social media, both in terms of a channel, but also in terms of, kind of an outreach, consumer sentiment, advertising side. And that has certainly changed. It's created new brands. It's created opportunity for new brands that otherwise wouldn't have had a chance in a conventional retailer or distributor channel type of relationship. So I think that's really powerful, right? It's kind of flattening the world in terms of access and awareness like technology typically does. So I'd expect to certainly see more of that. Perhaps you could even say the social media channels become their own e-commerce platform as well. So not only, hey, can we advertise here through TikTok or through YouTube or Instagram, but hey, you can actually transact. You see it, you like it, you buy it right then, and it ships to you. That could definitely be something that comes to fruition here pretty shortly.
Right. And if you're creating a new SKU every second, then the data comes with that. So every single thing adds more data, adds more complexity, requires more systems like the ones that we're building together, right?
Yeah, adds more data and adds more attributes. So yes, in a sense, it will expand the number of quote unquote point of sale transactions. But as a company, you want to know, was that sale through my conventional brick and mortar? Was it through some e-com channel? Was it through social? Because the planning, obviously, for those in terms of advertising, promotion, even pricing, drastically different. So in a sense, it's one incremental data point. In another sense, it's a completely different attribute and a completely different planning cycle, which compounds that complexity as you're highlighting. So really unique challenge, really unique times. I think it's going to be exciting to see how CPG evolves, how retail evolves, and really how AI can help on all fronts.
Well, thank you. That's a great vision. Thank you for sharing. So last question, Matt, for this podcast. What do you dare to dream?
Yeah, the big question. Let me kind of go back to AI. Again, I'm not an AI expert, but I love to kind of think about future scenarios, what could happen, what should happen, what will happen. And AI obviously has been talked about ad nauseum. Most of what people tend to kind of think through are, I'd say, really the fear-based scenarios, right? Of, hey, AI, it's not going to make a change. It's not going to affect my job. It's just there. It's a fun, unique thing. Fine. To the other extreme of, it's going to destroy everything. It's going to end humanity. Skynet is here. Those kind of things. I think, look, any one of those could happen. In reality, likelihood is we're going to be somewhere in between, and it's not going to be that binary. So, humans that aren't futurists, certainly myself, I think it's, again, easy for us to see what's in front of us and think, how this will change or that will change. I think it's easy to say certain things will change or go away. I think what's hard is, again, what will be created because of AI. And I think that's where it starts to get really interesting and fun to think about. What types of innovations, revolutions could occur? The pace and extent for creation here is going to far outpace, I think, the impact of disruption. And I think that's kind of a key theme for things that are, quote unquote, revolutions. I think AI is the fourth industrial revolution. So it's going to change things, I think, in ways that we can't even think about. And for me, that's exciting, right? I think we can look at the credible impacts it's having today, helping health professionals and medical staff diagnose and assess cancer at a much higher effective rate because of, human assisted AI. Incredible benefit, right? The way that AI is used really in kind of a novel sense today, but is, I'd say, flattening the technology hurdle to drive creative output, whether it's music, whether it's design, whether it's new business models. I think that ultimately is going to be the key thing that unlocks a wealth of creativity, right? That AI can generate coding prompts that otherwise required humans with specific insights. That's going to be gone, right? So what can one person do who has a really creative insight, a really driven passion to go do something different? Now, as a person of one, at much more reasonable cost, they can go impact the world, right? And so I think that's what really becomes interesting to think through is the future possibilities with AI. How does it enable creative? How does it enable new opportunities? I think it's going to create a lot more than it's going to destroy, and that's what will push us forward.
Wow, you say you don't have a crystal ball, but that was pretty good, Matt.
We'll see. We'll come back in 20 years and see.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for your time today. This is a really good discussion and appreciate your foresight and for both of you being able to announce this partnership on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thanks, Cecilia. Thanks, Ned.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Ned.
Thanks to our guest today for their great insights on Dare, the podcast for innovators, entrepreneurs, and startup leaders. If you'd like your story to be featured on Dare, just contact us at info@darwoft.com. Dare is brought to you by Darwoft, the tech team that can make your vision a reality.